judgment, basically, we said Al-Qiyam al-Kubra here, the major Qiyamah. There's minor Qiyamah and major Qiyamah, as we have mentioned. The minor Qiyamah, when you die. إذا مات الإنسان قامت قيامته. When you die, this is your Qiyamah start. And we said something always I would like to remind myself and you. We always think about the hereafter as something far away. And we think something way, not far away, way far, too far. But what separates us from the hereafter is only death. The moment you die, you are in the hereafter. SubhanAllah. So here, of course, there's a major and minor science. And Imam here, rahimahullah, did not mention anything of the conditions of the hour, the Day of Judgment, because basically, even though both the Day of Judgment and the hours partly unseen, but the thing is, the signs, you could see it sometimes, one time, because there's sometimes some signs happened and happening, and it's going to happen. But the thing is, the Day of Judgment did not happen, have total unseen. And also, believing the Day of Judgment, this has nothing to do with this. This strength, the Iman, but believing the Day of Judgment, separate than believing the signs of the Day of Judgment. So, because even though they both has to do with the unseen. However, here the Imam rahimahullah said, what would happen when the Qiyamah starts on the Day of Judgment? Of course, as you know, the first thing when Israfil blows the horn, the souls come back to the bodies. And it's different than the soul when it goes back to the body when the question of Munkar and Nakir, the angels, the two angels, as you know, the questions will be asked, who's your Lord, what's your deen, and who's your prophet. And then after that, we're not talking about this, we're talking about the other blow when everyone dies. So when everyone dies, then as with the command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Israfil will blow the horn, so everyone causes everyone to die, illa min sha'Allah, except for approval of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seems like some people or someone does not die, because he said, illa min sha'Allah. Allah, they said everyone, and Allah knows best like. So, however, it's everyone die except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they said, illa min sha'Allah, except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He does not want him or her to die. And the thing is, the souls goes back to the bodies, goes back to the body. So basically the Day of Judgment will be, but the souls for the original bodies we have is not a new creation. You come back yourself. We come back ourselves as the hadith of Rasulullah, because some opinion, they said, of course it's a false opinion. It's not weak, false. They said, no, this new human will be created. No, you and I will be created. And the dalil from the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَهُوَ الَّذِي يَبْدَأُ الْخَلْقَ ثُمَّ يُعِيدُهُ. He is the one who started the creation, then will bring it back. All right, so يُعِيدُهُ, bring it back. And he said in different ayah, Allah, in the Hadith Qudsi, he said, is not the first creation harder than bringing the human back. Bring him back. Not creating him again. Understand? So the dalil, so from the hadith and the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, كَمَا بَدَأْنَا أَوَّلَ خَلْقٍ نُعِيدُ. As we have started the first creation, we'll bring him back. So all the dalil here, beside the Quran, of course, Allah said, يُحْيُ الْعِظَامَ, or here bring the idam, the bone, back to life, even like ashes. So the same, your bones and my bones will become back the same people, same creation, different shape, of course, different strength and so on. We can handle things more, but definitely you and I will be the same people, subhanAllah. And this from the Sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He have mentioned the hadith as well. And no matter whether you buried or not, whether you cremated or not, whether you were thrown in the ocean or not, you're going to be resurrected. Allah is able to bring you back. Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala able to do all things. And subhanAllah, this is cremation. I had a question today about the cremation. If someone made in his will like to be cremated, a Muslim, what should we do? Should we fulfill his wish? Of course not. Anything against the deen, we don't do it. For example, someone give my son triple the amount and my other son half, and this my daughter don't give. We didn't have to go by his wish. We go by anything against the deen, we do not have to. Matter of fact, we should not. You are sinning for fulfilling such a bad bequest, right? So has to be according to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even if it was the person cremated and his ash was thrown in the ocean, whatever they do, it's still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring you back, resurrect, and you, no one else. So this is the believing, what's going to happen, how is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bringing the souls to the body, and Allah bring us back, the same people, to the day, in the hereafter. And the day of judgment is coming, no doubt. As with Dalil, which is that Allah mentioned the book of Allah, the Prophet ﷺ, and all the Muslims, they have consensus opinion that this is the day of judgment. So the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah have described the day of judgment in the most scary way. It's not something pleasant really, something big. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuhan nas, ittaqu rabbakum, inna zalzalata as-sa'ati shay'un 'azim. يوم ترونها تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وترى الناس سكارى وما هم بسكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. Subhanallah. It's something, subhanallah, this is so يوم تذهل كل مرضعة عما أرضعت وتضع كل ذات حمل حملها وترى الناس سكارى وما هم سكارى ولكن عذاب الله شديد. Allah said in the Quran, O man, fear Allah. إن زلزلة الساعة, the quick of the ساعة, شيء عظيم, this is huge, terrifying. يوم ترون, the day of judgment, he said, the nursing mother will forget about her nursing baby. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned how severe the situation. The most close people to one another, the nursing, not the mother. Remember this. The nursing mother to her baby, more than the mother to her other son or daughter. There's a connection, subhanAllah. When the baby cries, that means there's milk, the mother's chest. When there's chest, the kid is hungry. The connection, even subhanAllah, this is what the way, especially when they are babies, the connection unbelievable. All night long, they feed their babies, subhanAllah. So on that day, that nursing mother, she forget about her baby. And he said, and every pregnant woman will deliver, and you see people as they're drunk, intoxicated. وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارٍ, they're not. But because the punishment for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is severe. And Allah said, Al-Qari'ah. ما القارعة وما أدراك ما القارعة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you know what the qari'ah? The qari'ah means bring fear to one's heart. Allah named it al-qari'ah, your heart to be shaken. It's called al-qari'ah, subhanAllah. There's so many, subhanAllah, every description Allah have mentioned about the day of judgment, every name of it, it's scary. Al-haqqa, al-haqqa, and so on. And there's a purpose and wisdom according to the scholars have mentioned. Said this is, without this, subhanAllah, this is the scary description to the day of judgment. People probably will not do anything, will not work toward that day. So the only thing that would make us work and do more by describing it the way it should be described, subhanAllah, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, all the description to make us or to encourage us to work toward or for that day. Of course, the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, it was mentioned how it's going to be, each one getting his record of good and bad deeds, and the hawd and the sirat and the path and so on. And also ijma'. Every single one of the ummah knows, agree, the scholars among the scholars of Muslimin, there's a day of judgment. If someone denies it out of ignorance, he should be informed. And if he insists, become a kafir, with no doubt. Someone denies there's a resurrection, even subhanAllah, then even Ahl Kitab. When you see someone, they say, someone dies, they said, Allah yarhamu, may Allah have mercy upon her. SubhanAllah, they know there's a return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They believe there's a day of judgment. Even they believe some of their sins are forgiven. They said, وَقَالَ لَمَنْ تَمَسَّنَ النَّارُ إِلَّا أَيَّامٍ مَعْدُودَاتٍ أو معدودة. So they said, even we're going to be punished only a few days in hellfire. So that means they believe there's day of judgment. That's part of their belief. Even though they're going to be saved, whatever they believe, but there's day of judgment, even according to the other deeds and so on. And we said once before, if you do not believe logically, if there's no day of judgment, will defeat the purpose of our existence. Will make no sense for us to be here. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never do things without a purpose. As He said, فَحَسَبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا. You think we have created you without a purpose, Allah said? وَأَنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَتُرْجَعُونَ, and you will not be returning back to us. So the thing is here, other than that, will be like this. Without the day of judgment, the reckoning and accountability and so on, will become like no sense for our existence. And this is hasha wa kalla. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never do something. It does not make sense. Everything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does for the greatest wisdom and things we know and things we didn't know. So then he said, إِنَّ الَّذِي فَرَضَ عَلَيْكَ الْقُرْآنَ لَرَادَّكَ إِلَى مَعَادٍ. So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and to us after him, the one who made the Quran obligatory, made halal and haram, you should do this and you shouldn't do that, right? So you are rewarded for doing this and accountable for doing that, subhanAllah. Then this, subhanAllah, Allah counted saying this ayah. That means there's accountability, there's reward, and there's punishment. If there's no such a thing, then why would Allah reveal this ayat? So definitely there is a day of judgment according to the Quran and the Sunnah and the Ijma' and even logically, which is we didn't go by logic, but they said the Aqd, and then even the Ahlul Kitab. And he said, Rahimahullah, what's going to happen there? يقوم الناس من قبورهم, the people, the man or the human, they get up from their qubur, حفاة, barefooted, عراة, naked, غرلة, they're not even circumcised. Subhanallah. Then the thing is, and this is the day of judgment. Hufat, they have no shoes, they have no clothes whatsoever, and even they did not do circumcision. Exactly the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have created us. He said, كَمَا بَدَأْنَا أَوَّلَ خَلْقٍ, as we have started the first creation, we bring you back. So the way you were, subhanAllah, there's no different, subhanAllah. And Aisha radiallahu anha, when she heard Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam saying this, people are basically naked. She said, males and females? Said, yeah. Ya Rasulullah, people, they're going to look at each other? They're going to be looking at each other? She told Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he told her, Aisha, the situation or the matter way more severe than what you think. He said that day, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ, you'll be running away from your own brother. You'll be running away وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ, and you'll be running away from your own mother and father. And they run away from you. وَصَاحِبَتِهِ, and your wife and your children. Now people nowadays probably he give up his life for his brother or father or mother and wife and children, and vice versa. But there, you will be running away from them and they are running away from you. Subhanallah. So he said, man would not even look at the woman, and men would not even look at, women would not look at men. So the thing is, everyone will be so scared. Now we lower our gazes in the dunya, and we don't see the fire out of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, we don't look at the woman, for just like we lower our gaze when we see a woman. It's part of our deen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have commanded us, the males to lower their gazes, and the females do the same thing, lower gaze out of fear. This is a command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine there, who would be looking? No one. Definitely, no matter what you see right next to you, subhanAllah. And after all that, they will be dressed back up again. They will be clothed after the situation. And he mentioned, he said also, ما يكون في يوم القيامة, what's going to happen the day of judgment. The sun will be close as far as a meal. Meal, which could be the mile, could be the thing, something the one they do the kuhl with. So this would be about like 2-3 inches. Whether this or that, way too close, subhanAllah, this is definitely, even though nowadays, look how hot last week. The sun, how many thousands of miles away or tens of thousands of miles away from the earth, and how hot it is, subhanAllah. So the thing is, how could you handle this, the question? SubhanAllah, the thing is, Allah will create you in the day of judgment much stronger than the dunya. And as you know, nowadays, if you stand in the heat for a day, you will die. Then you're going to be able to stand 50,000 years without food or drink. So this is by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, giving us the strength to stand. And not everyone will be standing in the sun, except, he said, except for those who, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be under the shade. And the shade, remember, a lot of misunderstanding about the shade. Some people, they think the shade of Allah. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. No. If the shade of Allah, that means the sun going to be above him. We don't do this. This is totally wrong Aqeedah. Allah will create a shade for the people who deserve to be under that shade. So the shade, not the shade of Allah, the shade created by Allah to prevent them or protect them against the sun. And however, there's that says 7 types of people will be in the shade when there's no shade but that shade. And he said one of them, the first one, Imam Adil. Imam Adil means a just ruler, a king or president or so on, or governor. So, and he said the second one, subhanAllah, from, because this is very particular, very important position to become a president or a king. The responsibility is huge. That's why Imam Ahmad rahimahullah said, if I have one dua, I know Allah will answer. I make dua for a ruler. Not against them like some people nowadays. They curse, they do this against the rulers. We're not agreeing with them. Make dua for them. May Allah guide them. So the thing, every time they see someone doing wrong, which is, we're not saying they're doing good, but the thing is, don't make dua against them because they're already doing bad. By your dua, they're going to be worse. So the thing is, he said, their responsibility is huge. However, the second important thing, second most important thing, shabun nasha'a fi ibadillah. A young man started his life worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And mashallah, you all should have, including the boys. All shabab. So shabun nasha'a fi ta'atillah. And then he said, the man, young man. And young man, when you are young, you are young. So it's one of the things. Why? Because there's a lot of temptation. You're strong. You find about the dunya future, but your mind way off that. And then he said, وَرَجُلٌ تَعَلَّقْ قَلْبُهُ مُرَادٍ. A man, his heart attached to the masjid. What does that mean? So you finish Salat Maghrib, you cannot wait for Isha. This ta'alluq qalbah. This means your heart attached to the masjid. You finish Salat Dhuhr, you cannot wait for Asr. You don't want to leave even the masjid. So your heart attached to the masjid, subhanAllah. Now, you sit in with your friends at the gathering, the picnic or barbecue and cooking, and say, oh my God, now Salat time. So even you come, but your heart is not attached to the masjid. And look at here, subhanAllah. This is something, you have a lot of friends. He said, 2 men, they loved one another for the sake of Allah. What got them together? The love of Allah. Then they loved one another the same condition of love. So basically, whatever happened, this is, you love him for the sake of, you love him because he's in the sunnah, you love him because he come to the masjid, you love him because he's hafid, you love him because he knows about the sunnah, you love him because he teaches you the deen, you love him for the sake of Allah, you love him because he loved to implement the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So then that's the reason for the love, not anything else. And then you start the love for this and you leave each other for this. And he said the other one, a man, a beautiful man, a beautiful woman has mansib, have social status and beauty. She invited him to commit the haram, the adultery or the fornication. He said, I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inni akhafu Allah Rabbil Alameen. I fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And don't ever try to put yourself in that test. You will fall into it. You don't want to wish to go to the fitna. If that happened to you, then you say that. But don't go and say, I'm going to see that woman, and so I tell her, I fear Allah. You're going to fall into zina. Never test yourself, subhanAllah, with this. Then he said, وَرَجُلٌ تَصَدَّقَ بِصَدَقَةٍ. A man, he will give a donation, have donated a donation. He hid it to the point his left hand doesn't know what his right hand have spent. So then, how that goes, it said basically you hide it. There's like a couple different interpretations for the hadith. One of them said you hide it so no one will see. And second one, they said you just grab money out of your pocket and pour it in the donation box and you don't know how much is it. And some people, they do it literally. They put their hand back and they do that. So basically that's not the one. Basically the most important thing, I mean, if you want to be like inshallah 100% authentic, you put that money, you don't know how much is it, no one sees you in the box. You didn't know and no one sees. This will be inshallah hadith 100%. So this is the sincerity and you don't know how much you have done. Then The other one he said, man, if he gave a charity, till his left hand wouldn't know what his right hand. Then the third, last one, go ahead.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
Then the last one, number 7, which is وَرَجُلٌ ذَكَرَ اللَّهَ خَالِيًا فَفَاضَتْ عَيْنَهُ. So a man remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by himself alone, then he or his eyes became tearful. So or he shed tears. So this is the 7 types. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all among those. And this is, imagine, this is how special. This is the VIP thing, really. The real one, real VIP. So we said this is the thing, subhanAllah, this is what we should strive for. Nothing in the dunya could be compared to this. Will be people standing there in the heat and the sun as far as a mile away from people's head, and then you be there in the shade. And he said, then all will be, the other situation, the day of judgment, they all be like, sweating based upon their deeds, some to their ankles, some to their knees, to their waist, and some all the way to their mouth. And the thing is, how that could happen in the same place. So the thing is, remember, this has something to do with the unseen. How could that happen? But Allah knows best. So are they, for example, the people they sweat in up to their knees will be in the same one spot, and they to their waist in another spot, their mouth and their neck. Allah knows best how it is. Allah is able to do this and this and that. Is nothing hard for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So we leave it to Allah. We leave it because this something has to do with the unseen. And then the other thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will set up the scales. According to the Imams here said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself will set up the scales to weigh the good and bad deeds for everyone. As he said, وَنَضَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And he said, وَالْوَزْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ الْحَقُّ فَمَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ وَمَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُم. So here subhanAllah, Allah said, we set up the mawazin, the scales, and the day, for the day of judgment, whoever his scales heavy, those are the successful ones, and who their scales light, mean light with good deeds, and then those are the ones who lose themselves in the hereafter. And it's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, كلمتان حبيبتان إلى الرحمن, said two words beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Rahman, خفيفتان على اللسان, so easy to say, very light and simple, ثقيلتان, heavy in the mizan, in the scale. Say subhanallah wa bihamdih, subhanallah al-azim. Try to say this as much as you can. You mentioned just the hadith narrated by Imam Bukhari, kalima, two words, habibatan. Imagine Allah loves them. Dear to Allah, loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khafifatan. Look at Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said easy to say, very simple, light. Ala lisan, and he said thaqilatan, heavy in your mizan, your scale, the day of judgment. Subhanallah bihamdih, subhanallah al-azim. So how would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala transfer the deeds to become like values and weight and so on? This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does it. This is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does things. And is that existed, that's real scale? It is real scale according to the stronger opinion among the scholars. Some people said, no, it's not a scale, as Mu'tazila said it's not a scale. This is, Allah meant by scale mean the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fairness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But definitely this is totally different than what Allah have said in the Quran when he said mizan, scale, and the Prophet ﷺ said also mizan, which is the scale in the hadith of Rasul ﷺ. Otherwise he could have said adl, fair. He said inna Allah ya'muru bil adl. So he used the word adl, which is mean justice, and he used the word mizan. So the Mu'tazila's statement is false, is not that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if he want to use like adl and justice, he could have use it. And also the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned the man comes with like so much bad deeds, and then he comes with only la ilaha illallah. When he said la ilaha illallah, overweight everything, the other side of the scale will fly all over the place, basically will overtip the other side. So definitely, as according to the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this the real scale is not something different. Inshallah, there's not much time to do this part of the